inside an alien prison ship deep in space. The human protagonist, Captain Elias Ward, is chained in a cold chamber made for alien bodies, not human ones. He is the last surviving officer from a human exploration fleet, destroyed by a powerful alien empire. The alien guards mock him. They believe humans are weak, emotional, and short-lived. Elias stays silent, watching, learning their habits, their tech, their pride. Prisoners are taken away and never return. Elias expects execution. Instead, he is suddenly cleaned, dressed, and escorted upward, not to death, but to the royal court. Why keep him alive? Why bring a prisoner before a queen? The queen of the empire. Elias meets Queen Sereth, ruler of a multi-star empire. She is ancient, sharp, and dangerous, more politician than warrior. She explains the truth. Her empire is unstable. Her daughter's husband, a powerful war consort, has died. The noble houses demand a replacement, or they will revolt. The queen studied human history in secret. Humans bond deeply. Humans fight hardest for family. Humans adapt fast under pressure. Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The cell was not made for humans. The walls were too smooth, curved inward like the inside of a shell. A soft blue light came from no visible source, pressing into the eyes and never dimming. The floor was cold metal, always cold, even after hours of sitting or standing. The air smelled clean but wrong, filtered too much, stripped of anything familiar. Captain Elias Ward stood alone in the center of the chamber. Heavy bands of dark alloy locked around his wrists and ankles. They hummed softly, not loud enough to hear clearly, but strong enough to feel in his bones. Every small movement sent a faint vibration through his body, a reminder that the restraints were always awake. He did not struggle anymore. At first he had, every human did, but Elias had learned quickly. The more you fought, the tighter they became. The alien guards enjoyed that. They would watch, silent and tall, their narrow eyes glowing behind smooth masks, waiting for the moment the prisoner realized resistance only made the pain worse. So Elias stood still. He counted time by breath, not by light. The light never changed. He had been here since the battle. Since the human exploration fleet had entered the wrong system, one marked as restricted in alien language that no one on Earth had ever seen before. The ambush had been fast. Silent weapons. Ships disabled, not destroyed. Boarding craft like black insects swarming metal hulls. Most of his crew had died fighting. The rest were taken. Elias did not know how many days had passed since then. He only knew that one by one, the other human prisoners were taken away. Some screamed. Some prayed. Some tried to bargain in words the aliens did not understand. None of them came back. The guards never explained. They never needed to. Execution was expected. That was how empires worked. Elias had accepted that truth early. He was a soldier trained to face death. What troubled him was not fear but delay. Why keep one human alive? The answer did not come quickly. When the guards entered his cell this time, there were more of them. 6 instead of 2. Their armor was polished, marked with symbols Elias had seen only once before during the battle on the command ship that destroyed his fleet. Royal marks. They unlocked his restraints without warning. The sudden freedom made his muscles tense. Pain rushed back into his arms and legs, sharp and burning. He clenched his jaw but did not cry out. The guards watched closely. "Move," one said in broken human language, its voice flat and metallic. Elias stepped forward. They led him through long corridors that curved and twisted like living things. Alien structures never followed straight lines. Every hallway felt like it was closing in, guiding him rather than allowing choice. Other aliens paused to stare as he passed. A human, tall for his species, scarred, wearing a torn prison uniform. Some looked curious. Others looked amused. A few looked hungry. The doors opened into a vast chamber, wide and high, filled with soft light and distant echoes. Elias slowed without meaning to. He had seen many command rooms, many alien designs, but nothing like this. This was a throne hall. The floor was layered crystal, transparent in places, showing stars slowly drifting beneath his feet. Tall pillars rose like frozen waves. At the far end, on a raised platform, sat the Queen. Queen Sereth of the Valerian Empire. She was larger than the others, her body wrapped in flowing dark fabric that moved as if alive. Her face was sharp, ageless, her eyes pale gold and unblinking. Thin lines of glowing script traced her skin, symbols of rule and bloodline. She did not rise when Elias was brought before her. She did not smile. She studied him in silence for a long time. The guards forced Elias to kneel. He did not resist, but he did not lower his head. The Queen noticed. "Captain Elias Ward," she said at last, her voice smooth and calm, translated perfectly into his language. "Last command officer of the Terran exploration fleet." Elias did not answer. "You watched your people die," she continued. "You survived capture. You endured restraint without breaking. Interesting." Her gaze sharpened. "Do you know why you still breathe?" Elias met her eyes. "No." A faint movement passed across her face. Not amusement, not anger, something closer to approval. "Because my empire is at risk," the Queen said, "and because you are human." She gestured with one long finger. The guards stepped back. "My daughter's mate is dead," she said, "killed in war, a strong consort, a dangerous one. His absence has created weakness." Elias listened carefully. "In my court," the Queen continued, "weakness invites challenge. The noble houses grow restless, they whisper, they sharpen knives behind smiles." She leaned forward slightly. "They demand my daughter remarry." Elias frowned. "What does that have to do with me?" The Queen's eyes never left him. "I studied your species," she said, quietly. "Without your knowledge, humans adapt faster than most. You bond deeply. You protect what you claim as yours with a violence that surprises older races." She stood now, rising to her full height. The room seemed to shrink around her presence. "You are seen as weak," she said. "Small empire, short history, soft emotions." She paused. "That makes you perfect." The meaning hit Elias slowly, then all at once. "No," he said flatly. The Queen raised a hand, and the guards stepped closer. "You misunderstand," she said. "This is not a request." She walked down the steps of the throne until she stood directly in front of him. "You will marry my widowed daughter," the Queen said. "You will become her consort. In return, your life will be spared. Your suffering will end." "And if I refuse?" Elias asked. The Queen's voice softened. "You will return to the prison ship," she said, "and you will be erased, as if humanity never touched our stars." Silence filled the hall. Elias felt the weight of it pressing down on him. He thought of Earth, of blue skies and gravity that felt like home, of faces he would never see again. He understood then. This was a cage, not made of metal but of duty and politics. Refusal meant death. Acceptance meant becoming a piece on an alien board. But survival came first. "I accept," Elias said. The Queen studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Prepare him," she ordered. The guards moved in. Hours later, Elias stood in alien ceremonial clothing, his wounds cleaned, his hair trimmed. He barely recognized himself in the reflective surface of a crystal wall. They led him into a smaller chamber, quiet and dim. She was already there. Princess Lurik stood near a window that looked out into space. Her posture was rigid. Her hands were clenched at her sides. She turned as he entered. Her eyes were dark, filled with grief and anger both. So she said coldly, "You are the human." Elias bowed slightly. "Captain Elias Ward." She laughed once, sharp and bitter. A prisoner forced into marriage, how fitting. She stepped closer, her voice low. "Do not mistake this arrangement for acceptance. You are here because my mother wills it." Elias met her gaze. "I understand." She searched his face, perhaps expecting fear or pride. She found neither. The doors opened again. The engagement ceremony began. Nobles filled the hall, their voices a low, dangerous murmur. Eyes turned toward Elias, measuring, judging. One noble stepped forward, tall and armored. "A human," he sneered. "This creature replaces a true warrior." Elias felt every eye on him. He straightened. "I stand where I was placed," he said calmly. "Nothing more, nothing less." The room went quiet. High above, the queen smiled. They thought they had chained a man. They did not know they had invited humanity into the throne room. The palace never slept. Even in its quiet hours, Elias could feel it breathing around him. Soft vibrations moved through the walls, deep and slow, like a living creature at rest. Lights dimmed but never faded. Guards rotated silently. Drones drifted like ghosts through the halls. He learned this during his first nights as royal consort. His chambers were large, filled with alien art and smooth furniture shaped for bodies not his own. The bed was wide but firm. The air was warm, carefully adjusted to human needs, though it still felt wrong on his skin. Freedom wrapped in luxury. Elias slept lightly. Years of military training had taught him to wake at the smallest sound. In the palace, this habit kept him alive. The first attempt came on the third night. He woke to silence that felt too perfect. No distant hum, no movement beyond the walls. His instincts screamed. Elias rolled from the bed just as the floor beneath it gave way. The mattress dropped into darkness, swallowed by a hidden shaft. Metal snapped shut an instant later. He lay still, heart pounding, eyes scanning the room. A test. He stood slowly, checked the walls, the ceiling, the door. Nothing else moved. After a long moment, the palace systems restarted, the hum returning as if nothing had happened. By morning, the floor was repaired. No one spoke of it. Lurik noticed his sleepless eyes when they met for the daily formal meal. She sat across from him at a long table, her posture perfect, her face calm but guarded. "You did not rest," she said. "I rested enough," Elias replied. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "The palace can be dangerous." "I've noticed." For the first time, something changed in her expression. Not warmth, not trust, but interest. The days passed, each one bringing new pressure. Nobles tested him with words sharpened like knives. They questioned his presence, his worth, his right to stand beside the princess. Elias answered calmly every time. He did not rise to anger. He did not bow in shame. He watched. He listened. He learned. Alien politics were complex, but ambition was universal. Power moved through favors, secrets, and fear. Elias had seen it before on Earth, in uniforms and suits alike. The second attempt was quieter. A drink offered by a smiling servant. The scent was pleasant, the color rich. Elias noticed how the servant's hands trembled. He pretended to sip, letting the liquid touch his lips, then set the cup aside. Later, he poured it into a cleaning unit. The metal hissed and melted. He said nothing. The third attempt came with guards. They entered his chamber at night, blades humming with energy, not official soldiers, hired killers marked by no house. Elias used the room. He overturned a table, shattered a light crystal, plunged the chamber into shadow. He moved fast, faster than they expected, using pain and surprise rather than strength. When the palace guards arrived, 2 attackers were unconscious. One was dead. The queen summoned him at dawn. She stood alone in the throne hall this time, her expression unreadable. "You survive well," she said. "I try," Elias answered. She studied him carefully. "Many wish you gone." "I know. Do you fear them?" Elias met her gaze. "No." The queen's lips curved slightly. "Good." As days turned into weeks, Lurik began to watch him more closely. She saw how servants treated him with quiet respect, how guards nodded instead of sneered, how nobles hesitated before speaking. One evening, she found him standing at a window, looking out at the stars. "Do you miss your home?" she asked. "Yes," he said honestly. She was silent for a moment. "Why did you agree?" Elias did not turn. "Because living gives you choices, dying ends them." She considered that. "My first mate believed strength was loud," she said softly. "You are quiet." "Quiet lasts longer," Elias replied. That night, for the first time, she did not dismiss him when the formal hours ended. The coup began in whispers. Elias heard them in broken patterns. Servants moved too carefully. Guards changed routes without orders. Nobles gathered in smaller groups, their voices low. He followed the signs. The attack came during a public assembly when the queen and princess would be exposed. The nobles planned to blame the human, a clean solution. Elias moved first. He rerouted palace security through maintenance access points he had memorized. He disabled key doors minutes before the strike. When the attackers moved, they found themselves trapped in narrow halls instead of open chambers. Chaos followed. Elias fought beside the guards not as a consort but as a soldier. He took wounds. He ignored them. He dragged injured defenders to safety. Lurik saw him standing between her, and a blade meant for her heart. The coup failed. The nobles were exposed, arrested, stripped of power before the entire court. Their shame echoed louder than any execution. Afterward, the palace was quiet again. The queen summoned Elias one final time. "You were never meant to rule," she said. "You were meant to endure." She stepped closer. "You have done more than that." She dismissed the guards. "You are free," she said. "Leave this empire, return to your people, or stay by choice." Elias thought of Earth, of loss, of the future. He looked at Lyrakel. "I stay," he said. "Not as a prisoner. Not as a tool. But as a human." The treaty was signed weeks later. Humanity was no longer prey. It was family. The queen had wanted a weapon. She had chosen a human instead. And the stars remembered.